What's up, guys? I'm gonna wait until some people join me. Let's see who we're gonna have tonight. I have advertised yesterday. I have advertised today. And let's see who's gonna join me for the live about networking. How you guys doing? It's Friday evening. Some of you might be going out. Some of you might be going back from work. Those in States, I guess, will be 6 or 7 hours behind us. So maybe still be in work. Those in Australia, New Zealand, probably going to sleep right now. It's never a good time to get the right timing. Hi, Shaz. I'm going to talk about the networking events, what to do, what not to do, why going, what's important. If you're joining me live, please comment #live. If you're joining me, if you're watching a replay, please comment below #replay. It will help me out to see when is the best time to do the live and when are you interested in me going live. I'm going to mention a couple of points about basically I actually make some notes, believe it or not. I never do it, but I am prepared today. So I will be talking about connecting, networking, building rapport and why is it important for the business, for any sort of relationships, for basically if you're already in the business or if you're planning to be in the business. Let me know in the comments below, even if you're watching a replay, please let me know if you're already in the business or if you're thinking of starting one. We will have a Q&A in the end. So basically I will cover 5 points with the 6 being a Q&A. So first of all, let me know if you're watching live or if you're watching a replay. Let me know as well if you do networking, if you in business, if you thinking of starting a business. I'm just gonna wait for a couple of more people to join because I know there were a couple more people that were interested in joining me in. So I tell you a little story from last night. Right, so I've been networking. Well, we network all lives because networking is basically connecting with people. It's building the relationships, it's getting to know people, and maybe at some point it will come back to you. Either way, like people will want maybe something from you, you might want something from people. And why is it important to actually be nice to everyone? I'm not saying like if someone is not nice to you to be sort of like either, nasty backwards as well, but basically what it is. So I went for a networking yesterday, for a property networking event yesterday. Hi, Kat. Hope you're well. Where are you in the world this time? So I went to the property networking last night. First time after about 2.5 years break. I've been in property business before. I was running my own property services business, which, didn't go so well as I expected. But there we go. I have learned and I actually found something I'm more passionate about. Anyway, so yesterday event, imagine Thursday night, 6 p.m. You had a busy day, maybe not. You're still catching up on certain stuff. But what is networking event? What is it for that you're going for it? It's either a business event, either around certain subject, or is it possibly a general event where people meet? There are different formats of it as well. People meet, people introduce each other, getting to know each other, seeing who is in the business, who is doing what, etc. So imagine a Thursday evening, 6 p.m. Why are you going for a networking event? To connect with people. So I arrived 6:30 p.m. Actually, I actually got lost on the way. I arrived quite tired, but there we go. This was my first time on that particular event. I'm not going to mention the name. However, so I approached the registration desk. I said who I am. I got my badge. And I just thought I'm going to mingle around, meet people. I didn't know many people. I knew maybe one person there, two. So yes, I started to going around the room, starting to see who's up for a conversation. And some people, actually, most of the events I was going for, they have just set up rows of chairs. And basically, once the event started, they have some sort of speakers. You're sitting down, you're listening, and then there is some kind of breaks for further networking during and after. So yesterday event had the format of, they had like a round tables where people can sit down, have a water, make some notes, etc. What I have realized, as much as it's comfy, I think is discouraging people from actually making the connections. So what happened actually was, so I was starting going to different groups of people and see if I can join anyone, see if I can introduce myself, and if I can join any conversations and get to know people. So what happened was, actually, is I sat down at one table. There were two gentlemen on each side of me. So I sat down, asked if I can join. They said, yeah, you can sit. And then one gentleman, kind of possibly in the elderly age, I would say, he was on his phone. Obviously, like, I understand if you're writing an email, if you're busy, if you're catching up, but you going for a networking event to connect with people. Most of the people are already landlords, so they're already in the business, so they either coming to maybe get some tips, but mainly you never know what you're gonna need, what other people are doing. It's good if people get to know you, what you're doing, what you can help them with. It doesn't matter if you have something to sell or not. So I sat down at the table. I was saying, I thought I'm gonna sit down and join you and maybe mingle a little bit. And he literally told me, yeah, then mingle. So I sat down for maybe 1-2 minutes in quiet. The other gentleman on my left hand side said absolutely nothing. The other one went back on his phone. I was sitting for a while, a little bit awkward. Well, so I stood up and I just literally went to another group. And I was just joining people around, saying, hi, I'm Maggie, can I join? Yeah, and that's how basically networking looks like. What I wanted to mention is not only I felt awkward, I don't really care. I started a new business last week. However, it doesn't really matter. I'm doing different businesses for a while. I'm in a marketing business, and at the moment I started property photography. Either way, I wanted to advertise my services, but I never push myself on anyone. Don't want to force anyone to listen to me. So what I start with, and that's how I used to network for the last 6 years. I always just join, ask for permission if I can join any group. If they're having a current conversation, I don't want to interrupt. So I just join in, I listen, and then normally what should happen, that's what I at least imagine, is people will ask you basically, hi, so who are you, what you doing, what's your name? So normally I start like, hi, I'm Maggie, hi, I don't know, Paul, Amy, Adam, what are you doing? So, and that's how the conversation starts. It's literally a natural thing. So I will start listening. I joined a couple of groups. People will start talking about themselves. And this is quite important to make people talk about themselves, because it is quite icebreaker. Everyone likes talking about themselves. I'm trying not to talk about myself unless someone asks me. So I never will say what I do unless they wanted to know, because otherwise it's no point. So I have joined a couple of groups. I introduced myself. Some people did ask me what I do, so I say it very briefly. I said a little bit of my background story, that I'm an architectural technician, and I've been running a business, property services business, and also working with property developers before. So I basically say I'm now doing property photography, I'm doing architectural plans, etc., etc. So yeah, and that kind of pattern is repeating, and it is as natural as you going to approaching someone, and if they're standing in a group, is can I join in? And then you basically introduce yourself and then listen. Just don't talk, listen. If they're having a conversation, don't interrupt. After the couple of minutes, they might ask you, what do you do? So obviously you introduce yourself, you say briefly what you do, prepare probably like I would say, maybe not 30 seconds, but 60 to 2 minutes pitch of what you're doing and what's your little bit of background story and why you're doing it. Yeah, that will be very easy way to do. Another thing what I did realize, which I don't know why people are not doing, and I don't know if it's for me, it's a common sense, is like if people are standing in a circle and they at the networking event, what happens is if people are joining you in, or if you're seeing some single people wandering around who don't know anyone and you've already been on the networking events a few times, welcome them. It doesn't hurt. It will build a rapport. You will come across as nice, as easy to approach. So if you're standing in a group, if you see someone wandering around, ask them to join you in. Why don't you just introduce them like, hi, is that your first time? Why don't you join us in? Who are you? This is blah, blah, blah. Introduce people in the group if you know their names. That's another thing. If not, just say, what's your name? And then tell people to introduce themselves, and you will at least catch their names again. Another thing would be basically a body language. Open it up. Not just stand like that. Or sometimes some people, what I realized yesterday, what some people are doing, is basically during the break, after first speaker or after two speakers, and there was a break for a coffee, for biscuits, etc. And there were the three speakers that were talking. They were at the back of the room where the coffee was, and one guy was basically talking to one of the guests. So I have approached them. I had a coffee in hand, and the guy was basically going forward and forward to the speaker, and the guy was just moving and moving. Remember about your personal space. Don't come too close, because not everyone likes it. Not everyone feels comfortable. So remember about, don't speak to their face, because that's just really, really uncomfortable, and you're gonna come as creepy, in my opinion. It's not natural, and you will come across as like, oh, what's this person doing in my space? It's keep the distance, so as long as you can hear them and they can hear you. So I approached that speaker. He read my name of the batch. I'm Maggie, and I thought I'm gonna join in the conversation. Hi, Claire. I have approached the conversation. I was listening because they were talking about something, so about actually kitchen industry, which I've been recently in. And I was just listening, and I thought, like, after they finish, I don't want to interrupt, and I'm gonna start a new conversation. And what happened was, not only that this guy who was talking to the speaker has kind of turned his back on me, so I was like behind him, which felt kind of like, oh, am I not welcome here? It is a networking event in the end of the day. And another thing is, after they kind of finished talking, the speaker has wandered off. So I was like, okay. And finally this guy turned to me and we started to chat, but I did have the feeling he doesn't really want to talk to me, which was kind of, again, awkward. So guys, be bloody nice. Be nice, be open, be natural. Don't just look to sell or be sold to. So just have a normal conversation, let people get to know you, get to know the people. It's as easy as hi, say your name, ask questions of what the other person are doing, and once they finish talking, maybe say what you do, but wait for them to ask you. Don't just blah everything that's about what you're doing, because no one likes it. So just be natural. Remember about the body language. Remember the goal, why you're going for the networking event. Networking events is to establish connections and learn something. Even if you have nothing to sell, you're just starting off in a business. It doesn't matter if it's an offline or online. So I'm going to mention about the online building connections in a minute as well. So when you're going to any event, it doesn't have to be a networking event. It also can be some sort of personal development event, which I used to go I'm going quite often actually. There's one in beginning of August in London about social media for businesses, run by John Lee from Wealth Dragons. I recently been on the Success Summit in London about 2 weeks ago when Andy Harrington had the birthday. There was John Lee, there was a few other speakers, great speaker. It was a fantastic event. Anyway, there's like few hundred people. Obviously, you're not going to talk to everyone because there's not enough time. However, you going for an event, there's lots of people who are just ready with their credit cards to pay for their courses. It doesn't matter if you have nothing to sell. Just establish the connections, because they have the same mindset as you do. They want to learn. They want to find out what the speakers will be teaching them. Maybe you have something that you can help them out with. Maybe if you're not ready to sell, they might be interested in further down the line when you will be ready to sell, and they will already have that connection with you. They will know you, so it will be much easier for them to approach you rather than if you're a stranger and paying for the Facebook ads or any other adverts on Google or so. Yeah, so any sort of events are basically good to connect with people. So just as simple as hi, say your name, ask them what they do, and then hopefully they will ask you what you do, which would be a polite thing to do. Another thing, let me see. So the wider approach, when you're approaching, smile, guys, because smiling is your business card, your attitude, the way you approaching people. This is your business card. This is your brand. The brand is not the business card that you give. The brand is not your logo. The brand is not the colors that you use, not your website. No, people buy from people. No matter what business you are in people's business, because people buy from people. It's not like the company buys from company. Behind the company, there's always people. Why would they want to buy from you? They will only buy if they trust that you will fulfill their requirements. And if they get to know you and they know your values, they know why you're doing it, they know how you're working and your work ethics, then it will increase your probability of being successful in business. So it is not rocket science. So bear that in mind. Come with a smile, come with an open mind, introduce yourself. Don't have an attitude of, I want to sell in the first go. No, don't even sell. Just establish the connection. What to say, what not to say. So don't start talking about yourself first. Body language. So be open. Never sort of stand like that, because that sort of shows that you are offensive. So don't cross your hands. Don't try to be standing sideways. If someone approach, open it up. Invite them in. If they're standing by themselves, invite them into the group. Or if someone does approach you, at least be welcoming. It's nice. How would you feel if basically you are going for the first time somewhere, which is already scary because you don't know anyone and you don't know how people will perceive you. So imagine how you will be feeling if someone is basically, you're trying to get to know people, you're approaching certain groups and all the groups are just between themselves, they turning their back and basically they putting their sights on you and that's it. Well, how would you feel? It's like, okay, well then I wander off. If you're kind of easygoing and you don't care, then obviously you're moving on to the next one. But people who are shy, who are starting off and they're not sure about themselves, their confidence is quite low at that time, it's not really nice for them. It's really not nice. And you're really coming across as, excuse my French, cocky. You coming across as arrogant. So it is not nice. Lots of people don't even say hello first. I just don't understand that. Smile. If someone joins in, be welcoming. It doesn't cost you anything. And it can win you a lot. That's what I have learned over the last couple of years. Another thing would be a follow-up. So if you're going for any sort of events, it doesn't matter if it's a networking, because lots of people don't even have their sort of contact details. So on the business cards. So as much as the business cards is not the most important thing, your brand is the way you behave, the way you coming across to people. But it is important if you are going for a physical event to share the contact details. So even if it's a simple business card, and once they get to know you, it doesn't matter what's on the business card, because they will remember you. They will remember the way you make them feel. They will remember the way you acted, if you smiled, if you're friendly, if you're nice, if you're helpful, if you listen to them, if you actually remember what they said, if you remember the name. So that is really, really important. So in terms of the physical events, thanks Tarek. Hi Elliot. If you guys have any questions, you can drop them in. I'm trying to watch the comments as they come along. Please drop me a hashtag live or hashtag replay if you watch replay, live if you're watching live. If you have any questions, I will be doing a Q&A in the end. So just to go back to the follow-up and the way to network. So when you go into any sort of events, it doesn't matter if it's a networking event, is it a personal development event or some sort of marketing or workshop or whatever. There are people with the same sort of goal in mind. They want to learn, they want to develop their business. So everyone has a different skill set, everyone has a different qualities. You always be able to help them with something because everyone is different. It is important to establish that connection, Find out what they are, at what stage they are. Are they starting off? Are they already doing a business? If they're already further than you, congratulate them. If they're successful, fantastic. Tell them, well done. How can you help me? I don't know, just get some advice or whatever. Just listen to what they do, listen to the story. It is nice. They will remember you for it. So establish the connection, ask what they do, have some sort of contact details on you, come across as a nice person, because that will be your brand that they will remember. So business cards. If you're exchanging business cards, if you don't have a card, try to get their card so you can actually write to them. So they have your contact details. And as well, if you don't, or if they don't, maybe if they have a social media, try to connect with them on social media. Write it down on your phone. Everyone has a phone now, so there's no excuse. There's always a way to take their details. So the magic is in a follow-up, okay, and response. What do you think? I know that some businesses, they massive, they have like hundreds of employees, hundreds of staff, etc., etc. Some businesses are smaller, they're really busy, they're doing, like one person wears a lot of different hats, so there's a lot of things to do. However, if you are basically in that sort of business and you're trying to connect with people, and how do you feel if you're writing an email to a company, regardless for what it is, either asking for a service, asking for advice, asking for a quote, or anything like that, and you don't get any reply? It's the same for me. It's the most, I don't know, how do you say it, adjective, the most rude thing to do is not to reply. I know, even if you have an auto message, that at least acknowledge that someone sent a message, or send you a message, send you an email, whatever. Acknowledge that they basically talk to you. Acknowledge that they send you something. Say, I'm sorry, I'm very busy, I'll get back to you within 48, 72 hours or so. Just send a reply, please. There's nothing more annoying for me, if someone doesn't reply to me. It's just like, oh, they're ignoring me. I just mean nothing to them, I suppose. I can be their future client. But if they don't coming back to me, what can I think about them? Oh, they too arrogant? Am I too small? Maybe they too busy. Fine, but just acknowledge the bloody email. If there is nothing you can help me with, at least send, I'm sorry, we are too busy. Something. I think it goes along the way. So in terms of follow-up, so once you send an email, but it's also important, if you collect the business card, what to do is basically to follow up. Even if you see that, okay, maybe this person is not really your target audience, maybe that person is not necessarily gonna buy from you, or maybe they kind of seem like they're not sure, they're starting off, so they're not your client, and it's the same way. So you can see you're not gonna buy anything from them. Just if you don't receive the email, it will be nice within 40, not necessarily with 24 hours, but send them an email within 72 hours as a follow-up. Send them an email saying, hi, it was nice to meet you. It was, mention some fact they told you, mention something about them that you remember about them. That will make them feel, oh, this person really cares, so they will remember you. And next time, it might be even few months down the line that they will remember you, and maybe then they will be ready then to get some services from you. I'll tell you a little story in terms of building contacts and how far it can get. So it was, I left Poland when I was 19. I went to Jersey, and basically I had no English whatsoever. I was working in a restaurant as a waitress, and I didn't drive. I was just freshly after car accident, so I was terrified of driving, and I was hitchhiking a lot. Jersey is quite small and it's quite safe, so I don't think I would have done it here. However, I was hitchhiking a lot, and on many times I met very, very interesting people over there. And one of the person that I have met during hitchhiking, we started to chat, and it turned out that he was an architect in Jersey. Quite eccentric, quite interesting character, wearing funny, colorful shirt, didn't seem like, I don't know, professional. Anyway, we did have an interesting chat. He dropped me off to my work. He was actually going next door, so it was nice conversation. He actually gave me his business card. You will not believe, but literally 3 years later, and I think I left Jersey, I went to Poland and Australia, then Poland, and went back to Jersey. I met someone over there, and he was moving to Cardiff to starting studies. So I decided I'm going to apply for studies, and because I always like properties and sort of like interior design thing, so I decided I'm going to apply for interior architecture. So cutting long story short, when I was applying 3-4 years later after I met this guy, his name is Derek, I'm basically 3 years down the line, I was starting application process for the university. And what happened was I needed some work experience, possibly, and some extra money as well. And I remembered about him, and I wrote him an email. Hi, Derek, how are you? I hope you remember me. You were giving me a lift like 3 years ago. He did remember me. We had an interesting conversation about nothing to do with business, nothing to do with architecture. He obviously told me a little bit about himself, what projects he did and where. It was quite interesting. And he gave me a job in the office. It was a simple like tasks in office, like make some copy, do some coffee, like make this and that, very simple tasks, because I had no experience yet, and I didn't speak very good English back then as well still. Anyway, a year after I started the studies, and I was trying to apply for some sort of voluntary work, and again I could not get any voluntary work for like 3 years, applying for 70 different companies. The recession just started. So what Maggie did, Maggie has remembered about the old friend Derek, and I have sent him an email asking like, Derek, is there any way I can get some work experience again within your office? I just finished my first, so I cannot remember. I think it was actually a second year of studies, and he said, yeah, I think I can find you something. It wasn't like a massive study, so it was not really about the money. It was more about the experience, because with the experience, it's much easier to get a job late after studies. So so I got a 6 weeks placement with his company, and I went to Jersey. I was staying with a friend, and I got a job. It was like, so I met him and I think it was 2004, 2004, I think. I was applying for studies in 2007, and I had a work experience with him in 2009. How important is building relationships and having a simple conversation with someone. Hi, how are you? This is me. This is who I am. Ask about them, etc. Build relationships in any business. And now mentioning about online business and how to establish the connections. If you're connecting with someone, again, send them a message. Have a look at their profile. Have a look what they do. Make some comments about if you don't like their profile, if they don't have any photo, if they don't have any interesting content, or they're sharing only someone else's content, obviously is the point to connect. That's another story. Maybe they're not really at that point ready to connect with you, or you connecting with them. However, if you're liking their profile, if they're sharing interesting content, send them a friend request. But if you do, then follow up. Comment on some of their posts, like some couple of the pictures, like the profile picture, say them a hello message, say that it's nice to connect. Well, once they accept your friend's request, of course, unless they're sending you. If they're sending you a friend's request, also go to their profile, check it out. If you like it, comment on some of the posts, send them a couple of hearts, not likes, because likes don't do anything anymore on Facebook. So don't be the robot, be the real human being. Comment on their posts. Comment on their own content, say what you think, say what you like, and once you do that, connection is established, and ask them questions about them, let them talk about them. So the same rules basically apply offline as online. Be a human, not a robot. Don't try to sell. Not everyone is ready to buy when you're ready to sell, and likewise. So just build the relationship, and you never know when it's going to take you, even a few years down the line. Yeah, so that was my little story about connecting and how connections can help you out even a few years later, as well as networking events are not for the establish the goal before. So just to recap, every time when you go for the networking event, have a goal in mind. Why do you go there? Remember, it's about connection, it's about networking, and your network is your net worth. So it's really it's really important to remember that. So remember about the body language. Be open up, have a smile. Your brand is actually the way you acting. your brand is actually the way you behave. If you have a smile, if you actually remember, if you're talking, if you're welcoming, if you're not turning back on anyone, if you do apologize, just simple as. First ask people what they do, and then let them ask you what you do. Don't just start blabbing about yourself. So have a goal in mind. Make a nice approach to the people. Say basically. So again, like ask them what they do. Maybe find out how you can help them. And it's not about selling. It's about basically approaching them and finding out what is that they currently need. Maybe they will need, I don't know, let's say if you're approaching someone who is in accounting and they're looking to print something off, some leaflets, which you don't do, but you might know someone who you can recommend. Connect them together, because it's not only about you selling yourself, it's about you being helpful. So once they see you as a helpful rather than a person that they want, once they see that you are helpful rather than trying to get their money, they will remember you, and they might come back to you a few months down the line when they see what you do. Remember about the body language, get involved, get engaged, remember about being nice, being human, remember what is your brand. And that's pretty much how simple it is. Just be a human being. If you have any questions, send them over now. If you want to find out what sort of events I am going for, I'm in UK. I go for a lot of events in London, some in Cardiff. Let me know if you want to find out more about the business I'm involved in, what services I offer. I'm in the affiliate marketing and property photography right now, as also offering architectural plans, but I can also help with sales funnels if you have any questions. And I'm not saying I'm going to sell to you, because I don't. I'm really happy to help you. If you're starting off, it's good to have a simple conversation so you don't have to wander around to pay thousands for courses which you're never going to use, or they're going to be just there to basically sell you a thin air. So if you're interested in anything about business, online business, affiliate marketing, how to start, how to connect with people, you can either drop me a comment if you will be watching replay. If you're watching live, send me some comments now and I'll try to answer my questions. I see that the audience is not very active, but if you have any questions, I will be absolutely happy to help. Hi Tracy, Radek. I'm not sure who is still on the live. I'm going to finish now, I suppose, because I don't see anyone. But if you don't have any questions, then I'm just going to finish off, and you can send me some comments or questions later. That's it from me now. If you want to find out more, then just drop me a PM. That's it for now. Bye.